whistle because we have to blow the whistle now. This is an alarm situation. I'm Mark Lorinsky, and I'm a Blue Wave New Jersey board member and a member of our electoral reform working group. I want to mention that there are at least 20 more rallies going on around New Jersey today and tomorrow, organized by the statewide coalition you're part of. Some with 100, 200 or more expected participants, and they're expected to be more than 500 separate additional events around the country tomorrow, organized by other national groups. So I want to say, first of all, what's up with that? What's up with that? An individual who was elected to the presidency of the United States a few years ago on the promise to make our country great again, and he's focused his efforts on dismantling the work of the US Post Office, piece by piece. Who would have believed it? It's a cruel joke. And Donald Trump, who plays the US president on TV, is as much a real president as Cliff Clavin, sitting on a bar stool and cheers in a TV sitcom. As much as he's like a real poster worker. But at least Cliff Clavin didn't have the power to single-handedly destroy a historic agency. We know that the Continental Congress back in 1775, before there even was a United States of America, appointed Benjamin Franklin as our first Postmaster General. Through the Civil War, the Pony Express, and through the 20th century, and now the 21st century, the US Postal Service, which is responsible to deliver mail to everyone in every single city, suburb, and town, every zip code equally, has been one of the keys to our country's economic development and our cohesion as a society. We know the delivery of medicines has been impacted, further endangering people's health during the pandemic. Some 80% of our veterans are getting their medicines through the VA, but they get it by mail. Our businesses are experiencing slowdowns in supplies coming in and shipments to customers going out. Not at all what we need during this economic crisis. But the real danger is the confusion that is causing over our ability to safely vote by mail. It's simply shameful and outrageous that Donald Trump has openly spoken about blocking the necessary funds to carry out his Postal Service's functions, and Mitch McConnell so far hasn't done anything with the funding that the House of Representatives voted back in May. Trump is saying bluntly that he doesn't want mail-in voting, one of the safest options during the pandemic. He doesn't want it to succeed. So we've seen the photos, piles and piles of parcels building up around the floors of our distribution centers as the routine delivery standards have been blocked. We've seen the deactivated and dismantled mail sorting machines. So let's talk for a minute about the current Postmaster General, Mr. Louis DeJoy, who told the country earlier this week that the post office slowdown was basically just a big misunderstanding and that he wasn't responsible. Okay? An unintended consequence, in his words, of what he represented to be benign and necessary efficiency measures. DeJoy claimed that his slowdown had nothing to do with the elections and voting by mail. He basically told us that he didn't do it and he won't do it again. And while he said that he wouldn't remove any more mailboxes or sorting machines, he made no promises to put back the ones his team has already removed or destroyed. He also told us ominously that after the elections, he would resume his program of devastating cuts. DeJoy would have us believe that the chaos that he was creating at the Postal Service and the outrageous claims that Donald Trump has been making against mail-in voting had nothing to do with each other, that it was pure coincidence. But the fact is, in addition to being a mega donor for Trump, at least since 2016, DeJoy and his wife have contributed at least $115,000 to the Republican Legal Fund that has been responsible for bringing dozens of lawsuits against voting rights in general and the right to vote by mail in particular. So I say Congress has to dig down and investigate everything that's been going on, and we have to watch what DeJoy does, not what he says. Protecting our Postal Service and protecting our vote are the most nonpartisan, patriotic issues we could have in our country. So, although I'm active in Blue Wave, New Jersey, emphasis on the blue, I very much welcome support on this from people of all political stripes. But it has to be pointed out that there is one of our historically preeminent political parties here in New Jersey that has just signed on to Donald Trump's lawsuit against voting by mail in our state. And the candidates running on the ballot line of that party, who may or may not have personally attacked the US Post Office in their statements, haven't said much of anything in support of the Post Office either. So we have to ask these candidates for office, where exactly do you stand? Do you stand with Donald Trump and the New Jersey Republican Party, or do you stand with the people of New Jersey and our country, with our US Post Office, and with our right to vote freely and safely? Unfortunately, it has to be said that the whole extended campaign by Donald Trump to make outrageous claims against voting by mail appears very much calculated to pull the legitimate results of our November elections into doubt. And we simply can't have it. Either we're going to continue our history as a democracy this fall, or our country goes down the route of that 7-letter F word, the one that ends in ISM. And that's a term I don't like to throw around lightly. But what else can we call it when the person currently in the White House simply refuses to say clearly that he will leave peacefully if he loses the election? So I'll just say that it's great that so many of us came out here today, and in the 20 or so other rallies being held around New Jersey. It's great that some 500 or more events are going to take place around the country tomorrow. We should be proud of ourselves that we mobilized this quickly at this dangerous moment now in the middle of August 2020. Hopefully the U.S. House of Representatives will act with no uncertain terms tomorrow and in the coming weeks. Hopefully Mitch McConnell and his allies in the Senate will feel the pressure. But we have to vote this year like our lives depend on it. And we also need to be prepared, whatever may happen, to come back to the streets of our towns as it may be necessary to protect the survival of our democracy in the months ahead. Thank you to everyone. Stay safe.